How are you, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, the teacher of literature in English. Dear listeners, Form 3 and Form 4, Form 5 and Form 6 teachers, let us learn elements of literature. Any literary work is made of two elements, namely form and content. So let us look element of content and form. So, form refers to the superstructure of literary work. It is a principle that determines how a literary work is arranged and organized. Form consists of 5 elements or subparts, which are plot, style, setting, character and characterization, diction or language use, point of view. Plot is the arrangement of events in literary work in terms of cause and effect. The way event and action literary work has been remanded and ordered toward achieving particular artistic and emotional effect. Types of plot. First, chronological plot. This is a straightforward plot in which events move from the beginning to the end. Another type of plot, non-chronological or flashback plot. This is a plot in which events are not sequential, arranged. Event may start at the end, middle, and then finish with the beginning. Let us look parties of plot or element of plot. The first part of plot, exposition, is the foundation of the story in which setting, characters, and basic situation are introduced. Another part of plot, rising action, is the second part of the plot, where suspense grows among the characters as complication of the conflict starts. Another element of plot, which is climax, is the highest point in which conflict reaches its peak. It is a part which creates interest or suspense to the reader or audience. It is a moment of greatest danger or decision making for the protagonist. In other words, climax is the most exciting moment in the story. Another part of plot, following action, is a part of plot which shows what happened to the characters after the climax. Normally, one side among the two conflict part loses power and hence tension decreases. The last part of plot, which is resolution or denouement, it is the final part of the story as the conflict are resolved and some mysteries and unveiled. So let us look another element of literature, which is the second element, which is style or technique. Style or technique refers to the quality that distinguishes an author works from the work of another author. It includes the writer's choice and the employment of figure of speech in a literary work. In other words, technique refers to the way of literary work has been constructed and brought to the readers. In most cases, literary works are presented in dialogue or monologue or soliloquy. There's a variety of styles used by different artists in literature, but the most important technique is narrative technique. So let us look types of narrative technique. The first, or traditional narrative technique. It is a style which refers to the telling of a story that resembles the traditional ways of telling that have beginning style, like once upon a time, a long time ago, many years ago. The second type of narrative technique, straightforward narrative style, is the narration of a story that relates to what is taking place in the story from the beginning to the end of the story. It is common in many novels. The third type of narrative technique, which is flashback, is a narrative style in which the end or mid of the story is found at the beginning and vice versa. The last types of narrative technique, which is foreshadowing, is a narrative style in which a certain characters make the prediction of the things that will happen later in the book's event. Another element of literature, which is setting, apart from forms. Setting refers to the time and the place where and when events take place in literary works. Basically, setting is a local historical time and the social circumstance in which the action of the work of art occurs. Example, one can write the setting as in Tanzania after independence. Types of setting. Lead setting is a setting of the literary work to a lead place known to people. It makes a literary work more realistic. Example, The Lion and the Jewel is set in Nigeria. Another type of setting, imaginal setting. It is a setting of the literary work or a lead place which is unknown to people. Element of setting. The first element of setting, which is geographical setting. This is a place setting, example Tanzania, Nigeria, Kenya. The second element of setting, temporary setting. This is a time setting. It can be pre-independent, during colonial, or after independence. Another element of setting, social setting. This is a situational or environment setting. It deals with conflict, example exploitative environment. The conflict between the poor and rich, educated and the uneducated. Note, the element of setting can be also types of setting, where geographical setting is divided into real and imaginal setting. Let us look at another element of forms, which is character and characterization. Character is any participant in the action of a literary work. It can be human or inanimate. Types of character: major or minor or central character. These are characters that play an important role in a story. They are drivers of the story, in which the plot and the resolution of conflict is resolved around them. Another type of characters, minor characters. These are characters that do not play an important role in a story. These are characters that take small part but help the main character to develop events. Let us look on classification of characters. The first classification of characters, protagonistic. The central character in a story and is often referred to as a story main characters. He or she is faced with a conflict that must be resolved. Is a character with positive trait and the audience loved him or her. Let us look at another classification of characters, which is antagonistic. Is a character who opposes the protagonist. He or she is the one who makes the story to move on. In other words, the antagonist is an obstacle that the protagonist must overcome at the final stage of the story. Another classification of character, dynamic or developed character, is a character that changes over time, usually as a result of resolving a central conflict or major crisis. Another classification of character, which is static character, is a character that does not change over time. His or her personality does not transform or evolve or change. There is not much to learn from about such character. Another classification of characters, round character, is a character that has complex personality. He or she is often portrayed as a complicated and contradictory person. Another classification of characters, foil characters, is a character, usually the antagonist, that show contrast against the protagonist. He or she is usually a minor character that has trait. Aversion is the main character and is frustrated the main characters. Another classification of characters, flat characters, is a character whose personalities are not complex. He or she is presented only in an outline without much individualized details. Another classification of characters, stock or stereotype character, is a character that occur repeatedly in a particular literary genre and so are recognizable as a part of the form. In other words, stock character is a character borrowed from other literary work recognized by readers. Another classification of character, expository character, is a character that is described or discussed either by author or by another character. Another classification of characters, dramatic character, is a character in action. From his or her speech and recorded sound, we make dedication about his or her personality, attitude, and relationship with other characters. Another classification of characters, symbolic characters, is a characters whose presence in the work of art stands for an idea such as corruption, dictatorship, greed in the society. Another classification of characters, dramatic character, is a character in action. From his or her speech and recorded sound, we make dedication about his or her personality, attitude, and relationship with other things. Another classification of characters, which is realistic characters, is the characters that featured true human traits. They are imaginal characters, but they resemble true human beings in their behaviors. Using these characters to make a work of art to reflect reality. Another element, a classification of characters, which is non-realistic characters, is a character that does not feature true human trait. So let us look the meaning of characterization. It's a process of describing a character in a work of art. It involves the process of assigning a certain duty to characters in order to achieve a particular purpose by a writer or narrator. Types of characterization. There are two types of characterization: direct characterization and indirect characterization. Direct characterization, here a writer tells the character straight, like brave, collapsed, weak. Indirect characterization, here a writer depends on the reader to draw conclusion or judgment about the character trait using an evidence. The writer gives both different methods. So let us look method of describing or identify characters. In literary work, a character can be identified in the following ways: through what they think, through what they say, through what they do, the way they behave toward others, through what other characters say about them, through what the author say about them. So let us look another element of form, which is diction or language use. Diction refers to the choice and arrangement of words in a literary work. The choice and the use of words for artistic effect in a literary work. It also refers to how language has been used or employed in a work of art. In any literary work, language is commented as simple, though in other ways it can be complex. Another element of form, which is point of view, refer to an angle or position from which a literary work is narrated. It also refers to who tells the story. Therefore, it is a speaker, voice, narrator, or persona of a work of art from where we get the story. Types of point of view. A first person point of view is the type of point of view in which the narrator is one of the characters in literary work. The person I is employed in narrating the story. This narrator tells us his or her experience. Therefore, the reader see everything from that character's eyes and experience. Another type of point of view, second person point of view, is the types of point of view in which the person you is employed in narrating the story. It is rarely used in the work of literature. The third types of point of view, third person point of view, is the types of point of view in which the narrator is outside the story. This is a very common point of view. The narrator uses the pronouns such as he, she, or they. Thus, the narrator is not a character in the story, but an outside observer. It is grouped into two groups, namely, third person limited point of view is the point of view in which the narrator tells a story by using only one character in the whole work of art. The third person or mystic point of view is the point of view in which narrator reports on what several or many characters are thinking and feeling. The narrator seems to know everything about the characters of the story. This type is also known as all-knowing point of view, and the narrator is in an all-knowing being. Importance of point of view. They are crucial foundation for any piece of writing. They provide the context and backstory you need for the audience to understand the scene. They help the audience best see the writer's characters and the interpreter the material in the way the writer intended. First person point of view bring inspiration for creating drama and emotion. So let us look Another element of literature, which is content. The first element of literature, which is a form. So let us look the second element of literature, which is content. Content refers to what is being said or conveyed in literary work. It is also referred to what is being described in the literary work in literature. Content includes the following elements. The first element of content, which is themes. The central dominant idea or purpose in literary work is usually stated in statement form. It is an abstract concept that is made concrete, so through it is representation of person, action, and imagine in the work of art. The common themes in Africa literature include betrayal, African tradition, colonialism, position of women, corruption, crisis, racial segregation, protest, neo-colonialism. Themes are categorized into two types, which are the main or major themes, the second, the minor themes. And literary work has only one main theme, which is built by the minor one. Therefore, minor themes are the builder of the main themes. The second element of the content, which is the message. Message refers to what is learned from a literary work. A message we get from literary work is about our experience in life. The writer typically likes to accomplish one or more of the following: to pursue, to criticize, to inform, to explain, to entertain, to describe, to tell a story. As a third element of content, which is conflict. Conflict is a struggle, quarrel, or misunderstanding between the character in a work of art. Conflict builds a certain amount of suspense that makes the reader to desire the known what is and how next it will happen. Types of conflict: economic conflict, philosophical conflict, political conflict, social conflict, family conflict, personal interpersonal conflict. So let us look another element of content, which is philosophy. Philosophy is a belief or sense of a writer which is resulted from citing some realistic belief in human experience. For example, a writer may have the philosophy that in life, to be precious, we need peace and love. So there is a sum of questions you may ask in a topic which is our introduction to literature. There is a question you may ask: writing literature in local language, the only way to make sure that it reaches every individual in the society. Argue for against this statement, give 8 points. Another question you may ask is: the subject of literature is different from other subjects taught at school. What are the difference between literature and other subjects in secondary school curriculum? Another question you may ask is: support the view that the society make literature and the literature hold society. And the last question you may ask is: show how literature is a reflection of life. Give 6 points. Thank you for listening to me. My name is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige from Africa, Tanzania, Shinyanga, nindo lyabusalu mwajiji, ndo nilikozaliwa. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment below this video. Thank you. Thank you. My name is teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, the teacher of literature in English from